and welcome to my Yield and Diary Management workshop. My name is Kate. I run a business called Selling Savvy, and today I'm going to talk all about Yield and Diary Management as part of the revenue section of your course, and I'm doing this on behalf of my DAS, and it's great to be involved. So just a little bit about me. My name is Kate. My background is in hotels and venues, proactively selling them, going out, finding business, finding leads and bringing them into the business, and reactive sales, so managing sales teams and managing conversion strategies to make sure that we are capturing all that business that gets brought in. I now run Selling Savvy, started it in 2018 and have clients all across the UK, and also have a team in France as well who serves the French market. A little fun fact about me, I fall over all the time. I have really bad balance. I've only just actually recovered from a broken ankle because I fell over, and actually I was sober, so I can't even blame that, blame the wine. But yeah, just a little snippet about me. So at Selling Savvy, we offer niche sales training to hospitality, events and tourism industry. It is niche. I only talk about sales. I don't do marketing, operations or anything like that. Sales is all I know. We train tangible tactics and action. So things that you can actually take away and go and implement straight away. And essentially what we're doing is increasing your conversion and creating moral salespeople as well. We're not going to be talking about tips and tricks and manipulation. It's all about relationships and managing those to the best that you can. So yield management to start with. Yield management is a variable pricing strategy based on understanding, anticipating and influencing consumer behaviour in order to maximise revenue or profit from a fixed time limited resource. Woo, it's so wordy. There's a lot to get your head around. Let's break it down a little bit. So yield management is a variable pricing strategy. So it's a strategy, it's a plan. Strategy is just a push word for plan, where the pricing goes up and down. It goes up and down depending on lots of different factors, which we're going to go through. And it's planned ahead based on understanding what's going on in the market, anticipating that because you understand what's going on and what factors affect your rates, and therefore you're able to look forward and anticipate that. And then influencing consumer behavior, and that comes through the price and the price that they're going to buy, and it comes through the different market segments and how the elasticity of the market segment and how much they would like to pay for their room or for their event. And we're trying to maximize revenue or profit from a fixed time limited resource. So that fixed time limited resource can be a hotel bedroom. It could be an event space in a hotel or a venue, and that's a fixed asset. So if you have 100 bedrooms in your hotel, you are not able to build any more. So you only have 100 bedrooms to sell. It's time limited because if on Monday you've got 100 bedrooms to sell, by Tuesday you no longer have 100 bedrooms to sell on that Monday. So you only have from today until Monday to sell those bedrooms. So it's time limited. If you don't sell them before Monday, then you can't make that money back on that Monday again. So that's a little overview of yield management. So the product is fixed, the bedrooms, the meeting space, and we're trying to sell it at the right time, at the right price, trying to maximize our profit while still making sure that it's affordable and that people will actually pay that for it, to the right person, so the right target market. Yield versus revenue management. You've probably heard of both of those phrases before, so there's a little bit of a difference here. Yield management focuses on price differentiation, so what we've just talked about, for instance, hotel rooms. Revenue management is yield management, but combined with statistical analysis to expand the market for the service and increase the revenue per unit. So yield management is hotel rooms, meeting rooms. Revenue management incorporates all other revenue streams within the hotel. So restaurant, spa, amenities, upgrades. The restaurant, spa, etc., you don't tend to yield rates as much because you wouldn't run out of food. You wouldn't run so you could just get more food in if you didn't sell it, and people are less, for lower ticket items, people are less likely to want to see the fluctuation in that. However, occasionally you might do offers in your restaurant. You might do like a 20% off if you dine on Tuesday lunchtime or something, and that's slightly yielding because you're trying to get bums on seats on a time when you know that you're going to be quiet. So what is the purpose of yield management? We are essentially trying to maximize revenue for the hotel, and we're trying to maximize occupancy, because the more revenue you're taking in, the higher the occupancy, the higher the RevPAR. Now, if we were in a workshop, I'd be asking you what RevPAR is now, but I will tell you. So RevPAR is revenue per available room. So the amount of gross revenue you are making just from your rooms, just from the sale of your rooms, divided by the number of available rooms. So if you sold 80 rooms, but actually you've got 100 rooms, then you'd still divide it by 100 because those rooms are available even though you didn't sell them. So that's the purpose. And I'm just going to go through some factors that affect yield management. Historic demand. So, you know, in August, it's typically been a low month for corporates because people are on holiday, and therefore we know that maybe August we might reduce our rates a little bit for corporates. If you're a wedding venue, you'd hike your rates up during August because you'd want to, because you know that it's a busy wedding season. A very simple example, but it demonstrates it nonetheless. Day of the week. So there's busier days and quieter days depending on your market segmentation. Special events. So if you've got any local special events happening in your area, or if it's Valentine's Day or Christmas, that will change the rates. Competitor pricing, what your competitors are doing, either the type of property you are or by location. Length of stay, so are they staying for one night and going to block out all of your bedrooms and mean that you can't take any 2, 3, 4 night stays? Therefore, you might massively put the price up, or you might even just turn the business away. Holidays, so over Christmas holidays, Easter, half terms, that will change the rates depending again on the type of hotel you are. If you're a leisure hotel, your rates might go up because you have lots of leisure guests staying with you. If you're a corporate hotel, your rates might go down because you're not going to be very busy because the corporates are all on holiday. Current availability, so how busy and how much demand there is for your rooms or your space at that time on that day. Acts of God, so we all know what acts of God are now, and COVID is a perfect example for that. Anything that's like any sort of pandemic or earthquakes, anything that's awful like that. This is often called force majeure, which is act of God in contracts. You might have seen that come up. And then lead times. So if you were to inquire for a bedroom in my very smart hotel for tomorrow night, and I've got loads of availability, I'd probably give it to you. But if you were inquiring and I didn't have much availability for tomorrow, then I would give it to you at a very high price, higher than if you were inquiring for 3 months' time. So the lead time of the booking will affect how much I'm going to charge you. So occupancy versus time. This is a really standard, extremely basic graph that tells you what the occupancy versus time trends are. So if your occupancy is 100, so on the left here, we've got occupancy percentage going from 0 to 100. And then along the bottom, we've got days from today. So if we pretend that today is day 0, we can see that usually you would have, I'd be very, very busy today. I'd have high occupancy because people have booked, and maybe further as we go out in a month's time, I might have a little bit less occupancy. In 3 months' time, I'll have less occupancy. And certainly in 6 months' time, I'm going to have quite low occupancy unless there are special events. This is really, really basic. We're going to go one step further now. So now we've added in holidays and special events. So occupancy is going to go down during the holidays. Yellow is the holidays. Perhaps I'm a really corporate hotel, and therefore I know that my client base isn't probably going to book me over the holidays, and therefore my occupancy will go down during that time, and then probably go pretty much straight back up again as soon as we're out of holidays. I might have a special event near me. So I used to work at a hotel in Farnborough, and during Farnborough Air Show, we would be massively busy, and the rates would go way above 100%, probably 250%. But you can see here that the occupancy further out was higher than it would be on a normal day. And again, as soon as the air show's over, or as soon as your special event's over, it goes back to normal rates again. So we just changed this now to, so you can see this is where blackout dates are. So blackout dates is a name for blocking out any rates, any normal rates. So if you're going to charge for bedrooms or event space on a massively hiked up price, they're called blackout dates, and you would make sure that no negotiated corporates, no pre-agreed contracts or anything were allowed to book during those dates, because that would massively reduce your RevPAR. If you're charging £350 for a room and then a negotiated corporate books their corporate rate of 125, that's going to hugely dilute the amount of revenue you're going to be able to take that week. So now this flips very sneakily to rates versus time. And again, this is a really simple way of thinking about it. So you can see here that it's essentially identical. So when the occupancy is high, often the rates are high, because we know that there's high demand and we can charge more for that. Again, during the holidays, the occupancy is low, therefore the rates often go down. During blackout dates or special events, the rates will go high, get high again. This is a more realistic graph of how this looks. It will never be this simple, and it does get very, very up and down and higgledy-piggledy. The reason for that is because every single day the rates are different. So here, the light grey is the weekdays, and the dark grey is weekends. You can see here that we've got a bit of a trend that kind of goes down diagonally that we saw before, but actually during the week, you know, here later in the week is quite busy, and then here kind of Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday is quite busy. They've obviously got some sort of event ongoing here. Here looks like an event, and then it gets lower and lower. Here, this is a holiday, so that's why there's a big dip there. And then you can see the blackout dates here, or the special event, which has massively hiked the rates up, and it's actually gone up to over 125%. So yeah, you can see the line here, the holidays and the blackout dates. So market segmentation is something that also affects rates, it affects yielding and rates. So market segmentation involves analysing the target market for the hotel industry and segmenting them based on price sensitivity and booking behaviours. We've got some examples here. Leisure guests, local corporate rates. So leisure guests are people who are staying with their families, want to go for a swim in the pool, that sort of stuff. Local corporate rates are negotiated for a year or even 2 years, and then they have a certain number of room nights that they come and stay with you. Group booking, so that could be a wedding, a corporate meeting, or maybe a government group. And then online travel agents, so the likes of booking.com, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, that sort of thing. Each of these market segments buys in a different way. It also has different pricing elasticity, which I mentioned at the beginning. So leisure guests, or corporate guests will be much more likely to pay that £10–15 extra for a bedroom because they need it for a reason. It's not their money. It's not an emotional purchase. They just need to be in that location because that's where they're working. Leisure guests, on the other hand, would be really put out if you put the price up £10–15 because it's their money. They feel like they don't want to overpay. They're very sensitive to price. So that's why you have to really understand your market segmentation for your specific property before you start yielding your prices. So what do we learn from this market segmentation? The guest experience, so what sort of experience they want. Again, corporates are quite happy to arrive, get their stuff in their room, maybe have room service, they're quite chilled, and then go early in the morning. They'll probably grab a really early breakfast and want it to be quite efficient so they can get to their office. Leisure guests, on the other hand, they're very leisurely. They like somebody to welcome them at the door. They like to feel like it's a great experience and they're being looked after, and it's a bit of luxury for them. It's a bit of a treat. They probably have dinner in the restaurant, quite a leisurely dinner. They might have a later breakfast because they want to have a lie-in. So the experiences are very different. You can also do targeted marketing around that. So you wouldn't market for corporate guests on Instagram, for instance, or you might not do. You'd market in a different way to leisure guests than you would to corporates, weddings, online travel agents, everything. You understand their booking journey and their booking patterns, how they like to buy from you. Again, leisure guests like to have a chat on the phone, ask about the facilities, spend a bit longer on the purchase. Corporates are quite happy to just book it online and get it done. Rates and profitability will change as well because of that pricing elasticity. And the TRevPAR. So this is RevPAR, the revenue per available room, but instead of adding up just the bedroom revenue that you've taken, you're adding up the entire revenue from the whole hotel that you've taken and then dividing it by per available room. So now that you've got a rough overview, a very basic overview of yielding and what affects yielding, what it is, how it's done, a little bit on how it's done, I just wanted to transfer that over to the meetings and events department now. So a bit of an introduction to meetings and events yield management, often called diary management as well. So meetings and events yield is done by square meter or size of room. So instead of a bedroom yield, which is done by the amount of available rooms you've got, the meetings and events yield is done by the square meterage that's available. Market segmentations are different because whilst you have leisure and corporate, you also have social events, you have open events where people can buy tickets and come, you have weddings, lots of different market segmentations. The buying process is longer. You do get short lead, but short lead from a bedroom perspective is like booking for tomorrow night or even tonight. A short lead event inquiry is usually a week or a couple of weeks out even. Depending on your market segment, that buying process can be really long. Weddings will book 2 years in advance. So the buying process is very different and longer. Blackout dates can be different to bedrooms. So for instance, over Wimbledon, people don't tend to book that many bedrooms, but events definitely still happen. So then the Wimbledon area, the events will be busier, but maybe the bedrooms might not be, or will be potentially busier, but not as busy as events. There's often more negotiation. If you think about if you book a hotel room, you book it and that's it, and you're often like, that's the price, I'll pay for it. With events, there's a lot of, there can be, again, depending on market segmentation, and there can be quite a lot of back and forth negotiating. We can't afford that. That doesn't hit our budget. Can you do a little bit less? Can you do it for cheaper? Can we take out this menu item and put in this one? There's quite a lot of, there is a lot of negotiation, a lot of conversation, a lot of qualifying that happens before they sign the contract or go somewhere else. Bedroom yield can affect M&E yield. So if the bedrooms are massively busy, that will affect the M&E types of business that they can take and the rates perhaps that they'll charge. And if the M&E is really busy and maybe has group bookings, taking a lot of bedroom stock out, then that will affect the rates that they're selling out for the remainder of the rooms. So they really are intermingled. So that kind of concludes my session on yield and yield management and a snippet of diary management. Please do get in touch if you've got any questions or any comments. I'd love to hear from you. I've also put in some QR codes here for you to follow Selling Savvy on social media, and please add me on LinkedIn. It would be lovely to hear from you and see your journey. Thank you so much. I hope it was useful.